We'll discuss question number 26. So, what are the different kinds of mortgage? One is simple mortgage, the second one, mortgage by conditional sale, then usufructuary mortgage, then English mortgage, and the fifth one, mortgage by deposit of title deeds, and the sixth one, anomalous mortgage. So, one is simple mortgage, the second one, mortgage by conditional sale, and the third one, usufructuary mortgage. The fourth one, English mortgage. Fifth one, mortgage by deposit of title deeds. And the sixth one, anomalous mortgage. So now we'll go to the very mode of transfer. So mode of transfer, one is by registered instrument, and the second one by delivery of possession, and the third one by deposit of title deeds. So registered instrument is a part of compulsory requirement on mode of transfer, and that is when the principal money secured is 100 rupees or upwards, exceeds mortgage by deposit of title deeds, and also in case of simple mortgage, and which is optional when a mortgage is less than 100. And now we'll go to the question number 27, that is define a simple mortgage. What are the remedies of a mortgagee under a simple mortgage? What are the characteristics of such kind of mortgage? And the very answer that we found regarding simple mortgage under section 58V of the Transfer of Property Act. So the very simple mortgage where without delivering possession of the mortgage property, the mortgagor binds himself personally to pay the mortgage money and agrees expressly or impliedly that in the event of his failing to pay according to his contract, the mortgagee shall have a right to cause the mortgage property to be sold and the proceeds of sale to be applied so far as may be necessary in payment of the mortgage money. The transaction is called a simple mortgage, and mortgage is a simple mortgage as it is defined under Section 58V of the Transfer of Property Act. So now we will discuss about the remedies of the mortgage. So the first one, realization of debt from the mortgage or personally mortgagor. Personally, then second one, sale of mortgage property through court. So the first remedy regarding simple mortgage, one is he can realize the debt from the mortgagor personally. As for example, he can realize the mortgage debt from other property of the mortgagor, or the second remedy, he can cause the mortgage property to be sold through court. And in connection to that, we will discuss one illustration to clarify these remedies. And the very illustration is that A has advance or 10,000 to B upon the security of his house. Later on, A may find that the house is not worth Rs 10,000. He may cause the house to be sold, and if, for instance, the house fetches only Rs 1,000, then he may realize the balance by suing the mortgagor and obtain a simple money decree against him for the rest rupees 9,000. In a simple mortgage, the security for the debt is therefore twofold. One is the personal liability of the mortgagor and the property. And now we'll go to the very characteristics of a simple mortgage. One is the mortgagor personally bound to pay the mortgage money, and the mortgagee's right to sell the mortgage property, and the third one, no delivery of possession to the mortgagee. So, the first characteristic of a simple mortgage has therefore the mortgagor binds himself personally to pay the mortgage money, and the second characteristic of a simple mortgage is the mortgagor agrees that in case of default in payment, the mortgagee shall have the right to cause the mortgage property to be sold. And the third characteristic of a simple mortgage is no possession is delivered to the mortgage. And now we'll go to another important question, and that is relating to question number 28. Define a mortgage by conditional sale and what are its characteristics. So, the very mortgage by conditional sale requisites on default of payment shall become absolute, or on such payment shall become void, and on such payment the buyer shall transfer the property to the seller. So, in a conditional sale and that of a mortgage by conditional sale, when the mortgagor ostensibly sells the mortgage property on condition that on default of payment of the mortgage money on a certain date, the sale shall become absolute. Or the second one, on condition that on such payment being made, the sale shall become void. Or the third one, on condition that on such payment being made, the buyer shall transfer the property to the seller. The transaction is called a mortgage by conditional sale. And now we'll go to the characteristics of conditional mortgage by conditional sale. So, the very characteristic is mortgagor conditionally sells the property, sale becomes absolute on default of payment, and becomes void on payment of the money borrowed. So, the vast and his characteristic is that the mortgagor conditionally sells the property. And the second characteristic, the condition is that the sale becomes absolute in default of payment on a certain date. That when the conditional sale becomes void on the very payment by the mortgage and the property retransferred. These conditions must be embodied in the document with effects or purpose to effect the sale. The word ostensible means that it has an appearance of sale but is really not a sale. The ostensible sale need not be accompanied with possession. The mortgagee does not acquire any personal right against the mortgager on the breach of the condition of repayment within a stipulated period. The transaction is closed and becomes an absolute sale on the passing of the decree, absolutely depriving the right of redemption of the mortgage. So, in that connection, we'll discuss a very important leading case, Amir Chand versus Devidas in 1972. The Madhya Pradesh High Court expressed that if a sale and an agreement to repurchase are embodied in separate documents, the transaction cannot be a mortgage, even though the two documents may be contemporaneously executed, but the converse is not true. When a condition of purchase is embodied in the documents which effects or purports to effect a sale in this case, the presumption is that it is a mortgage, as it was held by their Lordship of Madhya Pradesh High Court in this important leading case, Amit Chand versus Devidas. And now we'll go to the remedies of conditional sale as provided under Section 67 of the Transfer of Property Act. The remedy of the mortgage is to obtain from the court a decree that the mortgagor shall be absolutely debarred of his right to pay and take back the property. So, this is all about mortgage by conditional sale and its characteristics and the very remedy available to the mortgagee as provided under Section 67 of the Transfer of Property Act 1882. So, we have finished up to question number 28, and in our next upcoming video we will discuss question number 29 and 30. And question number 29, which asks that what are the characteristics of a usufructuary mortgage? Can a usufructuary mortgage issue for the mortgage amount? And question number 30, explain fully the rule that a mortgage is one and indivisible. Are there any exception to this rule? So, these two questions and their very answers we would like to discuss in our upcoming video.